Is the Kefine Klean that good? Is it really that $50 game-changing IEM that almost everyone out here is recommending to you these days? So I have been listening to these bad boys ever since the last couple of weeks or so, and I do have some thoughts to share with you guys. So hang tight, because a couple of things that I'm about to talk about right now regarding the Kefine Klean might just surprise you. Alright, so let's clear out all the good stuff first, because there is indeed more than one thing to talk about right here. The build and design is excellent. Matte black, all metal shells with zero sharp corners, and cherry on the top being those very subtle yet elegant looking laser edge patterns. And of course, we have to address the fact here that the Klean is one of the very few IEMs in this price range that provides you with customizable tuning nozzles for changing the sound signature. So that definitely deserves a big thumbs up. Next, we have to talk about this cable right here. It's a beauty. I think I read somewhere that Kefine is the sister brand of Sivga, another brand that's well known for using exquisite materials in their IEMs, which I think makes sense because the cable does feel awfully similar to the one of my Sivga Q. It's not as thick as the one of my Q, and it feels quite supple. It has very low microphonics, and it also doesn't get tangled up that easily, so that's definitely a good thing. The included carrying pouch feels quite nice as well, having that fabric texture, but the only disappointment I would say here is the limited amount of ear tips that you get inside the box. Now, in terms of ergonomics, I think these IEMs should fit most ears quite comfortably. However, a bit of tip rolling is required to get a decent amount of noise isolation, a factor that plays a big role in your overall audio experience. Speaking of which, let's talk about the sound quality. Now, these IEMs can be classified as one of those really good bassy IEM sets. There's a noticeable emphasis in the low end, especially the mid-bass region, that gives a lot of warmth to the soundstage. But it's not that type that bleeds into the mid-range and makes everything muddy, so I believe that's a good thing. It has that mild V-shaped sound signature with decent extension in the mid-range and the treble, and I think this will be appealing to the majority of the audience out there. But things get rather interesting when we talk about our critical listening experience with these IEMs. But before we talk about that, I just want to let you know that I did all my testing using the black nozzles only. The white or silver ones were too much shouty in the treble, with the bass being slightly bloated. So with that being said, now let's talk about my detailed experience with the Kefine Klean. So this IEM has a very natural timbre which makes instruments sound really good. So that's a huge plus point. And I also found the imaging of instruments to be decent for the price, but that being said, there's definitely a slight lack in the resolution department. The emphasis of the lower mid-range makes both male and female vocals quite engaging and fun to listen to, but female vocals might seem a bit muffled due to the lack of the required energy in the upper mid-range. That inoffensive treble, while being decent and suited mostly for people like me who are sensitive to treble harshness, I personally didn't like this treble response. In my opinion, the Klean doesn't do that good of a job in reproducing those finer nuances in your audio, so it definitely seems to lack in terms of technicalities, especially for the higher frequencies. And my expectations of getting that wide and immersive soundstage with the Klean remains, well, unfulfilled. It ends up being narrow and center focused both horizontally and vertically, so it doesn't end up producing that 3D immersiveness that I am a big fan of. Now, please don't get me wrong, the Kefine Klean is still one of those very few sets out there that comes with both a great build and a great sound quality. And I'm gonna say, if you have that budget of $50 right now and you're looking for a great bassy IEM set at this price point, you can blindly go for them. You won't be disappointed at all. But based on my personal experience, I'm gonna say the wiser choice here would be to invest in the slightly expensive brother, the Kefine delci. It's way more resolving than the Klean and also has more dynamic range in comparison. So in other words, delci equals more refinement, while the value king still remains the Kefine Klean. Alright, so that's pretty much it from my end, and I'll see you guys in my next one.